Good day and welcome to Big Bad Tech. I'm your instructor Jim Pytel, and today's topic of discussion is timers executing the flash, repeat, or recycle function. Our objective is to introduce the flash, repeat, or recycle function and put it to use in some illustrated examples. This lecture operates under the assumption you've watched the previous timer functions lectures, all available at the Big Bad Tech channel. If you haven't watched these lectures yet, or only dimly recall their contents, please take the time, pardon the pun, to do so now. Recall that a timer is a control device that exhibits a time-based shift between the assertion of its controlling input and the activation or deactivation of its associated contacts. Timers can perform numerous functions, including, but not limited to, OnDelay, OffDelay, on and off delay, flash, repeat, or recycle, positive or negative edge-triggered one-shots, cumulative on-delays, and more. Today's lecture deals exclusively with the flash, repeat, or recycle function. Before we dive into an in-depth discussion of the flash function, allow me to perform a brief walkthrough and review of common timer functions. My intention in doing this walkthrough is not to confuse you, but rather to compare and contrast their behavior with one another. Repeated exposure to this topic is the best tactic because similar terms are employed for different functions, and it'd be a horrible mistake to confuse one function for another. Expect me to revisit this exact same walkthrough of common functions every time we have occasion to discuss a new one in depth. Recall that a timing diagram of a timer executing the OnDelay or delay on energize function would look like this. When the controlling input is energized at this instant here, the associated contacts do not instantaneously switch to their opposite state. The normally closed time open contact remains closed, and the normally open time closed contact remains open. Only after the predetermined delay period T has elapsed do the contacts change states here. The normally closed time open contact opens, and the normally open time closed contact closes. When the controlling input is de-energized here, the associated contacts quasi-instantaneously revert to their normal deactivated state. The normally closed time open contact recloses, and the normally open time closed contact reopens. The OnDelay timer could be used to turn another motor on a measurable time period after another has started. Compare this behavior to a timer executing the OffDelay function. A timing diagram of a timer executing the OffDelay function, sometimes called a delay on de-energize or DODE, would look like this. When the controlling input is energized at this instant here, the associated contacts quasi-instantaneously switch to their opposite state, just like a regular control relay. The normally closed time closed contact opens, and the normally open time open contact closes. However, when the controlling input is de-energized here, the associated contacts maintain the asserted state. The normally closed time closed contact remains open, and the normally open time open contact remains open. Only after the predetermined delay period T has elapsed do the contacts revert to their deactivated state. The normally closed time closed contact recloses, and the normally open time open contact reopens. Note the different terminology and schematic symbols employed by the OffDelay in comparison to that of the OnDelay. They're opposite, as one would expect. An OffDelay could be used to keep one motor running for a measurable period after you turn another one off. Note for this general purpose orientation, I've purposely simplified the timing diagram of an OffDelay timer. Compare this behavior to a timer executing the on and off delay function. A timing diagram of a timer executing the on and off delay function would look like this. An on and off delay, as the name implies, executes a combination of the on delay and off delay function. When the controlling input is energized at this instant here, the associated contacts do not immediately switch to their opposite state. The normally closed contact remains closed, and the normally open contact remains open. Only after the predetermined delay period T1 has elapsed do the contacts change states here. The normally closed contact opens, and the normally open contact closes. This is the on-delay portion of the on and off delay function. When the controlling input is de-energized at this instant here, the associated contacts do not immediately switch to their opposite state, but rather maintain their activated state. The normally closed contact remains open, and the normally open contact remains closed. Only after the predetermined delay period T2 has elapsed do the contacts revert to their deactivated state. The normally closed contacts reclose, and the normally open contacts reopen. This is the off delay portion of the on and off delay function. A symmetric on and off delay timer means the on delay and off delay time period are equal to each other. T1 equals T2. To set a symmetric on and off delay timer would necessitate only one delay adjustment. In contrast, an asymmetric on and off delay timer means the on delay and off delay are not equal to each other. T1 does not equal T2. Timers executing an asymmetric on and off delay would require two independently adjustable delay periods. An on and off delay timer could be used to coordinate two motors such that motor B stops a period after motor A starts, then motor B stops a period after motor A stops. Note, for this general purpose orientation, I've purposely simplified the timing diagram of the on and off delay timer. Compare this behavior to a timer executing the flash function, sometimes called repeat or recycle. A timing diagram of a timer executing the flash function would look like this. When the controlling input is energized at this instant here, the associated contacts continuously alternate between the activated and deactivated state with a measurable period. Similar to our previous discussion about on and off delay timers, flash function might be symmetric, where the activation period is equal in magnitude to the deactivation period, or asymmetric, where the activation and deactivation periods are independently adjustable. A symmetric flash would necessitate only one adjustment. In contrast, an asymmetric flash would necessitate two adjustment points, one for delay period T1, one for delay period T2. The flash function could be used to create a super annoying warning strobe when a motor is energized, or perhaps timeshare a load between two different motors. Compare this behavior to a timer executing the OneShot function. A timing diagram of a timer executing the OneShot function would look like this. For a positive or rising edge triggered OneShot, when the controlling input is energized at this instant here, the associated contacts only temporarily assume the opposite activated state for a period T, and then revert to their deactivated state, despite the controlling input still being energized. This would be a rising or positive edge triggered OneShot, and essentially does exactly what the name suggests, and that the OneShot function is only enabled once for a period T on a rising or positive going transition of the controlling input. Alternatively, a negative or falling edge triggered OneShot is one that the OneShot function is only enabled once for a period T on a falling or negative going transition of the controlling input. OneShots can be used to assert an output for a desired time period following the energized or de-energized transition of another device. OneShots are particularly interesting because manufacturers occasionally include a slew of handy features, including resets and retriggerable versus non-retriggerable OneShots. Note, for this general purpose orientation, I've purposely simplified the timing diagram for rising and falling edge OneShots. Finally, compare this behavior to a timer executing the cumulative on-delay function. A cumulative on-delay timer is a record-keeping function where the timer does not temporarily shift the outputs, but rather keeps track of how long its controlling input has been energized. Only after the controlling input has been asserted for the predetermined period of time do the outputs respond. Note, despite the controlling input being discontinuously energized, only once the timer has accumulated the required delay period here do the contacts switch to their activated opposite states. Such a timer could be used to keep track of how long a particular controlling input has been asserted, and then alert the system that some maintenance or other task must occur. I like to think of cumulative on-delay timers as little accountants that keep track of how long the controlling input has been asserted and continually monitor how much time remains in the bank before it activates the output. Note, for this general purpose orientation, I've purposely simplified the timing diagram for cumulative on-delay timers. To be sure, there are other timer functions and twisted offspring of unholy unions of these common functions. However, these are more than likely the most common timer functions you'll run across. This orientation is intended to be general in nature and does not dive into specifics nor manufacturer idiosyncrasies. Be aware of subtle differences in different terminology used to describe the same features. Returning to the topic at hand, timers executing the flash, repeat, or recycle function, you'll recall that a simplistic timing diagram of a timer executing the flash function would look like this. Flash, as the name implies, continually alternates the associated contacts between the deactivated and activated states whenever the controlling input is energized. When the controlling input is de-energized, the associated contacts instantaneously return to their deactivated states. A symmetric flash function means the activated and deactivated delay periods are equal to each other. T1 equals T2. To set a symmetric flash function would necessitate only one delay adjustment. In contrast, an asymmetric flash timer means the activated and deactivated periods are not equal to each other. T1 does not equal T2. Timers executing an asymmetric flash will require two independently adjustable delay periods. Timers executing the flash function are pretty simple in nature. Really, the only complexity that can be brought to their discussion is whether the particular timer manufacturer initiates the flash period with an on delay or whether the flash function starts the flash immediately. A timing diagram that initiates the flash function with an on delay period would look like this, whereas a timing diagram that initiates the symmetric flash function immediately would look like this. It is your responsibility to interpret the timing diagram for your particular multifunction timer of interest.